Welcome to Enlightenment with Julian Nicholas, your gateway to a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. In each episode, Julian delves into the essence of wisdom and self-esteem, offering insights and messages to inspire your growth. Now, here's your host, Julian Nicholas, to guide you on this transformative journey towards living your best life.
Hello there, everyone. My name is Julian, host of the Enlightenment podcast, and this is a little bit of a change up from every other episode I do. I decided to think that this was a good idea, and I decided to bring on a friend of mine. My friend's name is Lewis. He is a sophomore, and I think he has an interesting story to tell. So hopefully, if you like this, maybe I can bring him on more often or bring someone else. Make a new segment out of this. Mm-hmm. And I would probably call it Enlightening Stories. Anyway, how you doing, Lou?
I'm doing good, Julian. Just getting on with my day, having some fun, talking with friends, trying to, get to my classes, do as much work as I can. If just take a nap or something if I'm tired, but still get my work done first because obviously my work's important too. Today I'm going to be talking about my story with my uncle, who he was, who he still is to me, how important he was to me, and what lessons he taught me even after his passing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
first, I want to just say I'm sorry for your uncle's passing.
Yeah, it's been a difficult thing to cope with. I mean, even after a year and 5 months now, it's about to be a year and 6 months tomorrow. It's difficult. It's not really something easy someone has to deal with, but over time, I started getting used to it, and it made me a stronger person. And I'm really thankful that I got to meet him. Like, he meant a lot to me, and I'm so thankful that I still have some sort of memory of him, which is my name, because I'm named after him.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me more about your uncle. What was he like?
My uncle, I'd say he was a really outgoing type of guy. He was very kind, caring, very wise when it came to certain situations, very energetic. Like, he knew how to make you laugh, he knew how to make you smile. He knew how to just make you have a good time and, just make you, feel alive. And the one thing I always liked about him is, whenever I was with him, he would always have such high energy just to, express himself. He'd always try to have as much fun as he could with me and make sure that I would have fun. And he was overall, such a really good guy. He was he was talkative, but it was a good type of talkative. Hearing him talk and hearing him about what he liked doing, what he likes doing, and what he's doing right now, I liked it a lot, and I liked hearing it. And overall, he was a really good person.
So basically, what you're saying is that he played a really active role in your life.
Yeah, because growing up, my parents didn't really, show that, give me that sort of affection, because my mom, she didn't really, have time for me. Same with my dad, and even if he did, most of the time he'd just stay in the house with me. But that was, other than that, that was it. But with my uncle, he would, go outside, and he'd ask me, oh, do you want to come with? Or, hey, I'm going to go to the park. If you want to meet up in a little bit, then we can play some soccer, play some basketball, whatever you want to do. I'm like, okay, I'm fine. So he was very active in my life, knew me since birth, and I was very thankful to have him. Still am, even though he's gone. And, yeah, if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be, the me I am right now, because he taught me a lot. Most of his personality rubbed off on me, and I'm glad that he taught me a lot, and he made me learn through life, through how difficult the challenges can be, but through how much you can learn from it.
What is one challenge that you were dealing with and your uncle was able to help guide you to become a better version of yourself?
In my relationship that I had last year, I was telling him about it, and he was teasing me, saying oh, you gotta go for now, yada yada yada. But he was telling me something, and I wish I could have listened to him more about it. But he told me listen, if you're going to be in a relationship, you need to be very, like, serious about it. Like, a relationship is something serious. You got to learn to have respect for your significant other, learn how to respect them, respect their choices. You got to respect how they are. And I'm not always going to be here to tell you this, but, like, you got to learn to just get everything together. You have to understand that whatever your significant other decides, if it's within their decision and they want to do this, then you have to respect that.
So basically, he was just trying to tell you that to value your partner, to value their opinion and what they have to say, how they feel. What else has he ever told you that you need help on?
There was this one time I was, like, struggling with some depression. I was, like, 12, 11, and I was going through it because that was the age that all my, like, trauma, all my sadness and my pain started coming in at once, and I didn't know how to feel. He said, "Hey, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not always going to be here, but I need you to hear this from me. Don't let your life knock you down. Like, you're going to get knocked down 1,000 times, but you're going to get back up 1,000 times. And I need you to know that you're going through a lot right now, and I know you're dealing with some pain, but try to look into the good. If you look into the bad, it's not going to help. But if you look through the good of your life, it'll help you, and it'll help you get through all these hard challenges that you're dealing with. And you'll find the right people also to help you out with that. Like, you don't have to deal with it alone. But whenever you need anything, just come to me. I'll talk with you. We can get whatever you want to do. We can do it. And I'll always be here whenever you need me."
He's right. Because sometimes in life, we always have that struggle, you know?
Yeah.
We've always had that feeling where this obstacle is so hard for us to really get over. But in reality, we just have to put effort and keep trying.
Yeah.
What is one thing that kind of resonates you to this day, even after your uncle has passed? Like, was it his wisdom? Was it the fact that he put in a lot of time with you?
If I could be honest, it would have to be everything, to be honest, because I can't really just pick one thing that he rubbed off on me or what he just left me behind with. He left me behind with a lot of wisdom, a lot of courage to keep going, to make sure that, like, no matter what, no matter how hard something may be, I shouldn't just give up just because it's difficult. That I should keep going, I should strive to be better, and I should strive to always overcome my challenges. He left me behind with his son, my little cousin, and it's been kind of a struggle because lately my aunt hasn't let me visit him at all. Last time I visited him was his birthday on October 22nd, I believe, and that was last year. And I'm still glad that my little cousin's doing okay, and I feel like in my case, from my point of view, what it seems like is when I was a little kid, he would be the one to take care of me and everything, make sure I was all right. And I feel like he left me behind his son to make it seem like I'm playing the role as the dad now, as for him, since he can't be here anymore for his son.
Like, you want to owe him for all the effort that he put into you.
Yeah, in a sense, like saying that I've now replaced my uncle and my little cousin has now replaced younger me.
Like, you stepped up.
Yeah.
Can you give me, like, an example of, like, how you used your uncle's words, his wisdom, in, like, a situation that you've been dealing with?
This happened a couple years ago, like 4 years ago, I believe. I was still 12. When I told him about how I was going through everything, how I was dealing with a lot, how so much pain just unfolding upon me. I listened to how he said his words. I wanted to apply it as much as I could. Because sadly enough, when I was 12, it got to a point where my depression was so bad. I obviously had my counselor and everything, but it got to a point where it was so bad that I would have committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
I kept listening to what he was saying, and I wanted to make sure that I was applying that rule that no matter how hard something may be, that I got to get through it and not alone. Like, I have people. Like, I can't just depend on myself. Like, I need people. I can't just say that I'm going to conquer this on my own when I know well that people will always be here for me and they'll always be here to listen to me, make sure I'm okay, make sure that I'm doing okay, and overall just making sure that I'm just doing good.
As someone who experienced that feeling of wanting to end it all, I understand you, man. And I want you to know that you matter in this world. You are valued, you are loved by people, whether it's your friends, your family, they all love you, my guy.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man.
Sadly, we're going to the bad part. My uncle passed away November 10th at around 4 in the morning, from what I'm assuming. I'm not sure what caused this passing, but all I can really say is all I think what happened to him is, from what my aunt told me, is that they had a party the night before celebrating my aunt's birthday, celebrating her. He had a drinking problem because sadly my uncle and aunt divorced, but they were still living in the same house for my little cousin since that was their son. And he was really dealing with it, and he didn't say anything to me because I just thought he was okay. But even he had his secrets, and my aunt told me that he was drinking a lot. He started getting into a drinking problem. He was drinking a lot. He was drinking a lot at work, at his house sometimes. But
So he had an addiction.
yeah, it got so bad. Then it started getting to a point where instead of drinking beer, he was drinking more liquor and everything. So it got really bad at one point. She told me that she woke up the first time and she heard him, like, sleeping normally and like everything was fine. But then she told me that when she woke up again, she went to the bathroom, like wash her eyes so she could wake up. She was touching his arm to make sure he was still sleeping, obviously. She said that he felt really cold, and then she rushed to call the paramedics and everything. They said that they had to get him quickly because since he didn't have a heartbeat, they probably just assumed his heartbeat was faint, and they took him to the hospital. And my mother told me when I woke up, like, oh, I don't know if your uncle has passed or not, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. And irony had to just hit me. And when I was just about to exit my room, my aunt calls my mother. And my aunt says it out loud on speaker on my mom's phone that my uncle had passed already a couple hours ago. At first, I couldn't believe it. I was still in shock. I was in the first stage of grief. I was in shock. I didn't believe it. I was just denying it.
Like, you were in disbelief.
Yeah. I was just saying, hey, no, this isn't real. Like, he's fine.
Like, there's no way this could have happened.
Yeah. And then the sadness, the second stage hit me. It was all the sadness, all the sorrow hit me. And it really made me wake up and realize and say, he's really gone. And it hurt a lot. And I went to his house. I was just trying to comfort my aunt, trying to spend time with my little cousin so that way he wouldn't have to think about it, because even at a young age, like, I don't want him to understand death. And at one point when he's old enough, yeah, he will, but I don't want him to grow up like that.
Yeah, that's how old is your cousin?
Currently he's 7.
Oh, wow. And this was a year ago, right?
Yes.
So he would have been 6. So yeah, I would say that is relatively young. And again, I am so sorry for your loss.
It's fine, man.
Like, can you tell me more on, like, how were you able to, like, cope with your uncle's passing, if you don't mind?
So 8 days later, it was November 18th. We had to go to his funeral.
Yeah.
So I was just getting ready. I was putting my music in the car so that way I wouldn't have to think about it. I got to the funeral home and I sat down in my chair and I was listening to music, and I saw him. I saw him in his casket, and because the casket was half open. And I was just listening to my music as best as I could so I didn't cry, I didn't show anything. But then once I saw him, it all hit me at once, and I'm like, that's him. That's sure as hell is him. And it hurt so much, and everyone was going up to the casket and saying goodbye and saying that they're going to miss him, that they're going to make sure that they're going to do all right, and that they'll always think about him. And everyone already went, my aunt, my mother, everyone. But then I was the only one who hadn't gone yet. I went up to him I kneeled, I cried, and I really missed him. And even my brother and my mother had to get me off because they knew that I was there, just crying, and it hurt. But over time, first couple months, I was doing horrible. It made me a completely different person. I hurt my ex, but I hurt her in a lot of ways because I wasn't thinking, and that was all my fault. And I'm man enough to say it, that it was my fault, and I'm ashamed of myself for what I did. And I hurt her, and it was all because I just let my actions just control me, and I didn't think of what I was going to do to someone. And his death really felt like a part of me really died, and I still feel like that even up until now. And I'm not gonna just lie and say, "Hey, like I'm fine." I'm not, and I'm not gonna be ashamed to say that I'm not fine. But I've learned to tolerate it. I've learned to cope. I've learned how to heal and how to grow little by little. He really left an impact on me, and it made me hurt someone that was so special to my life. And she doesn't talk to me even like right now. Currently, she's not talking to me. And if she could, I know she's probably gonna say like, "Hey, like it's alright," but I'm just like trying to say like, "Hey, I'm sorry. Like I messed up." And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I messed up, and I shouldn't have let like my actions decide how I should have acted. Like I should have thought. And I'm very deeply sorry to her that I hurt her. Like I'm deeply sorry. And I'm glad that like, hey, she's doing all right. Like I'm not bothered by the fact that we're not talking anymore. I'm just glad that she's doing all right. And if she wants to talk again, then let God decide. Time's gonna let things run its course. And like my dad always says, like let the river run its course. Over time, you'll see if there's changes or not. And if not, then just keep moving on. It was 8 months in, and I felt very different. I would every 10th day of each month I would cry because I'd remember when he died and everything, and it made me cry. But on the 8th month, I felt less tears, but I felt more glad. And then once it reached a year, then I felt glad. I felt really glad that he was, resting. And over time, I just my mind and my body were just learning to accept that he's gone. He may be gone, but it doesn't mean that he's gone from my heart, from my memories. It doesn't mean anything.
Was there, like, did you use any other coping mechanisms to really help yourself grieve, to help yourself really grow from the loss?
One thing I did, and my friends saw how I was so messed up. My friends tried everything they could to cheer me up, make sure I was doing all right. They always tried to make me laugh, and it worked. My ex, she tried too. She was making me forget about everything, and she was just trying to make me have a good time, make sure I was smiling, laughing, and she did a good job. Same with my friends. My little cousin, I saw him from time to time, and I was glad to see him just doing okay. And every time I just needed to be alone, I'd go to the park that me and my uncle always went to, and I'd sit at the same bench that he sat on, and I'd always just sit there next to where he would sit, and I'd just say like, "I miss you, but I'm glad you got a good memory in me, and you got so much in me that has helped me heal with your passing." And I just listen to music, stare at the sky, and just smile, and just imagine him looking down on me, being glad that I'm moving on, that I'm trying my best to heal and be better every day.
Again, I just want to say I'm really sorry for your loss, man. It's very hard to really move on from a loss, especially someone who left an incredible impact in your life, like your uncle.
Yeah.
So I'm really sorry, Louis.
Mm. It's okay. Like I've learned to cope and grow and heal, and even up until then, I'm still applying that rule. I'm just trying to focus on me as best as I can. Be happy, be glad that I'm alive even up until now, and that 12-year-old me actually listened to my uncle and actually listened and followed as best as I could in the right path. I'm not proud that during his passing, I would cut myself, and I don't want to make it sound like, oh, I'm doing this for attention. No, I'm being serious. Like, my whole entire right wrist was covered, and I thought it would help me cope, but it didn't. But over time, once my scars healed, the scars are still there, and they're still here even till now. But I'm glad that they're healed, and it leaves me a message saying, like, the scars may be there, but they heal over time, and even though you still got a reminder of those scars, you still know that you healed, and now that you're doing better because of it.
Like, basically, it's a sign of your past, and we're trying to remind you that you grew from where you were.
Yeah.
One thing I just want to ask before we end this.
Yeah.
What is one piece of advice that your uncle gave to you that you can impart on the listener?
To the listener hearing this, whoever you may be, my friends, my ex, who knows, to whoever is listening to this, don't let everything bad in your life affect you and affect your relationship or affect your friendships or anything. Like, think about yourself. Give yourself time to heal, to discover yourself. Understand who you are as a person. And once you understand who you are, then your life becomes just slightly easier. It's not going to slow down the process, but you'll understand that by understanding who you are as a person, it helps with your relationships, your friendships, and overall yourself as a person. And my last words that I can tell you are, keep being yourself. Make sure that you're getting everything set right. If you've made mistakes, don't let your past define you to the person you are now. And make sure that you can always smile, even in the worst situations, like my uncle said. And I want to say these words to you, listener. Don't even smile through even the worst situations. And it may sound stupid, but trust me, smile through the toughest situations, because it shows that you are a strong person and you have a strong will, and you can keep going no matter what.
Thank you for coming to the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me, actually.
Oh, no problem, man. You're welcome anytime. That's it, folks. My name is Julian Nicholas, host of the Enlightenment podcast. If you want more of my content, I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Until then, folks, keep the candle burning.
Thank you for listening to Enlightenment with Julian Nicholas. We hope today's episode has sparked new insights and empowered you on your path to personal growth. For more inspiration and wisdom, be sure to subscribe and follow. Connect with Julian on Instagram at enlightenment_pod. And if you found value in the show, please tell someone else. Join Julian next time as he continues his journey towards enlightenment. Until then, remember to embrace your journey and live your best life.